Extra Life was born. It just occurred to me that gamers should be able to do the things they love to help sick and injured kids as well. And so the funds that Extra Lifers raise can go to a variety of purposes in the local area at the local hospital.
So maybe your extra $20 or your extra $50 goes to curing 87% of children with leukemia.
62 kids like me enter a children's hospital every minute.
And I was one of those kids. You could save their life too.
Play games, heal kids.
Hey, nerds. We understand you. Drop those controllers. Lose the wizard hat. And ready your Cheetos. It's time for some hard-hitting talk about the movies, books, and games you love. So get ready, oh searcher of useless knowledge. It's time to step into the Geek Cave. Now, broadcasting from a top secret and totally awesome hidden base, I'm Ken Harris, and here's Darrin Wright, Justin White, and Chad Savage.
Welcome to another edition of Geek Cave Podcast Comics. I'm Darrin.
And I'm Chad.
That's right. Justin is on vacation. Hold on. I got this postcard handed to me. Roses are red, violets are blue. It's been a while, boys. Next time I see ya, boo. I don't know what that means.
That's a very odd.
Yeah. It was post-dated October. That's weird. How do you post-date mail? Oh, well.
Wow.
We'll get to that when we get to it. All right. So, hey, welcome to the comics segment. We are, doing the work. Big thank you to Gamefly. Membership options for every budget, plus gifts for gamers of all ages. They've got thousands of titles you can keep as long as you want. When you're done, just send it back with a postage-paid envelope for a new one, or keep it forever and pay a lot less than those in-store prices. Sign up for a free 30-day trial right now using the link at geekcavepodcast.com. Aside from the postcard, that's the last communique we've had with Justin for a while. He's on vacation. Hopefully he's doing great. And looking forward to having him back when he has used up all of his company allotted time, which we are going to have to set a policy about, like, limiting that from now on.
I'm half thinking that he used up most of yours, too.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't taken time. We haven't missed an episode in 179 consecutive months, which is really saying something for us.
Outside of planning, like the Christmas...
Yeah. So, it's been a while. Anyway, oh yeah, that's right. We got my segment. So, hold on. I just got to finish threading this needle. Damn it.
Be gentle. Be gentle. Be gentle. Be gentle. It's Darrin's first time.
I told you be gentle.
Welcome to Darrin's First Time, where I pick up a comic, a graphic novel, or manga that I've never read before, and I ask myself, is this worth standing on a scaffold for 3 hours and enduring public shame over?
Okay, I'm listening.
There's a pull, right?
Yeah.
In case you didn't get the reference, dear listener, this month, thanks to me adopting Chad's method of rolling dice to let fate decide my reading material,
okay,
my search led me on my Hoopla app to a title called Manga Classics: The Scarlet Letter.
Okay.
As in, it is a manga adaptation of an 1850 romance novel published by Nathaniel Hawthorne, but adapted by Crystal Chan, artwork done by Suneko Lee. All right. Now, let me say right up front.
Okay.
I had to read The Scarlet Letter in high school.
Okay.
I didn't get past chapter 3 because it was mind-numbingly boring for my teenaged boy mind.
Right.
The first chapter is all about a door.
Well, and Hawthorne is, of the authors that you could read, Hawthorne's good for teenagers because he writes short, easily accessible sentences. But it doesn't change that the subject matter is not always...
It's not fun. Not exciting, at least not the first chapter, because, again, door. I don't remember anything other than the main plot is about... We all know the main plot. There's a married woman. She lives in puritanical America. She had a child with someone who's not her husband, and now she has to wear the letter A on her clothing to make sure that everybody knows, as the kids say nowadays, she a hoe.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, of course, there is more to the story than that. And luckily, the manga adaptation manages to tell the story in a way that is both faithful to the book, and for visual-driven people like myself, the art's really good.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. It's not outlandish the way that some mangas are, you know? I mean, yeah, sure, people's noses disappear sometimes, but that's just the style of the medium. Mm-hmm. And for its credit, it plays the entire thing straight. Like
really?
100% straight.
No zombies.
Yeah. The idea of having the A that Hester Prynne, that's the main character, has to wear is the only thing with a hint of color in the book is, to me, a pretty smart idea.
Weirdly, though, it was blue.
But just, you know, you think of it like it's a manga, so it's black and white, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like this bright red A every time she's on page is just such, it draws your eye, which is the exact purpose of the supposedly shameful letter in the book. So to me, it works really well. Now, speaking of the story, and I'm not going to recount the whole thing. Yes, I know it's not necessarily spoilers. The book came out in the mid-19th century. But just summarizing a little bit. Basically, Hester was put into a loveless marriage. When her husband went missing for 2 years, she found love in the arms of another. She refuses to identify that person when the angry crowd wants to know who the father of her illicit child is so they can punish that person. The child is a girl named Pearl. As she grows up, she becomes a little bit precocious, I guess is the word, and starts causing trouble for everyone. Things get more complicated when the new doctor in town happens to be Hester's long-lost husband, but assumes a new identity, secretly demanding vengeance. Like, tell me the guy's name. She, again, doesn't say anything. And I won't go more into that other than to say that this adaptation is accurate and actually gave me a proper appreciation for the original work of literature. Which is saying something, because I never liked the book, but I get it now. If you've ever been curious about other classic works of art, maybe you found them too dry or too deep or too thick, whatever, go ahead and consider this one. And there are other books published under the Manga Classics banner, including, but not limited to, Othello, Hamlet, Macbeth, and Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Nice.
All have gotten the manga treatment. This one, honestly, too good to keep a vow of silence over. Be like me.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's what I got there. I've got a review or two coming up, but first, what do you got, Chad? You got anything for me?
Well, do you want me to start with the lanterns, or do you want me to start with the other stuff I was reading?
Let's just go ahead and get the question out of the way. I have a feeling you got
All right.
one.
It's a stupid question.
All right.
And now it's time for Chad Savage's Stupid Question.
So, Green Lanterns can create anything they can imagine, so long as they have the will.
Yes.
So, with every conceivable marital aid available to them without any financial investment, are they really good or really bad at making love?
You know, Hal Jordan got around, like, a lot.
Well, he was modeled on Captain Kirk.
Yeah, and, I mean, different species, different mating rituals. I think there's forceps involved. You know, I'm going to have to get back to you on that one.
Okay.
Did you read anything in addition to Green Lantern?
Quite a few things, really.
Okay, all right.
This has been a good month on my Hoopla app.
Oh, good.
So, I referenced it last month. I was reading Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow.
Yes.
Because the appearance of Kara Danvers. Why am I doing that?
Kara Zor-El.
Kara Zor-El.
Carol Danvers is Captain Marvel. I get it. You got a blonde person with Superman powers.
It's not even that. It's just she says it in the movie so many times.
Yes. Yeah. I get it.
No. So, having Supergirl at the end of Superman and then finding out that her movie is going to be based on this and you saying that this is really good.
Yeah.
So I read it. it's an interesting story.
Okay.
So from somebody who doesn't have the same level of appreciation for the Superman mythos, Supergirl wandering around with a person who's set on revenge is a really good hook. Taking away a lot of her superpowers because of her time on Red Suns and being away from so and so. I like that. I applaud what's being done with the different lessons. The artwork is interesting. But I did finish the graphic novel feeling like I wanted just a little bit more.
Okay.
At the end of the story, I didn't feel like I got quite enough Supergirl. I felt like I got a really good Ruthie Marie Knoll story.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. That was a really great character who did a lot of really good growth throughout the book. And the stories all have to be told from somebody's perspective.
Yeah.
But while I appreciate it, I doubt I'm going to reread it.
Okay.
So
Fair
I
enough.
gave it a B. I mean, it's still, and the artwork is really, really good.
It's really
good.
good.
Like the artwork.
Yeah.
So then I read Superman's Secret Identity, the one where the normal kid gets Superman powers.
Yes.
This may well be my new favorite Superman book.
I've got that physically in my office.
So in a world in which Superman's a comic book character, a boy, humorously by his parents named Clark Kent, develops the powers of Superman. And then we follow his life from basically a teenager who suddenly has powers through his retirement as an agent of good in the world. And it goes into his thought processes, his ethical considerations, his work with the government, and so forth. And every aspect of all four of these issues is well thought out, engaging, beautifully developing the character. I really, really enjoyed it. I will probably try to find this in physical copy just to have it on my shelves.
Nice.
I enjoyed it that much. This is an A book.
Awesome. I know that it's in a single collected volume trade paperback. I actually got the individual issues, strangely enough, through two separate trips to the Superman Museum in Metropolis, Illinois, because they have a gift shop with all a bunch of Superman stuff, and that's where I found these. But I also went ahead and picked up the trade. So, yeah, it's well worth tracking down.
Now, maybe it's because, well, let me say, I read Predator versus Wolverine. Now, maybe it's because I just read Superman's Secret Identity. Maybe it's because I just watched Predator Killer of Killers. But I was primed, I think, to like this book. So this is, again, told over 4 different time periods of Wolverine's life and his encounters with a particular Yautja. This book has Wolverine in the position of being prey most of the time until the X-Mansion gets attacked and the kids get attacked and so forth.
All bets are off then, yeah.
And so then it shifts over. Overall, it's a bloody good book. Emphasis here on bloody. With a whole bunch of exposition, but I think that's just how Wolverine books go. You know, the whole loner thing, almost the entire book is told with just thought. He's not talking to anybody. He's just ruminating.
Ruminating, yeah.
Yeah. And then I read, so on Hoopla, they have this thing, the bonus borrow section.
That's actually how I got the Scarlet letter.
So bonus borrow. So for this last week in August is when we're recording, and there was one called Ripple Effects, and I was like, oh, well, it's not going to cost me anything, literally. So let's do this. So in a world that has superheroes, those superheroes are an established thing.
Sure.
George Gibson is a little different. Yes, he's got a superpower. He is practically invulnerable to physical harm.
Okay.
And the way they show is when he gets hit, his skin ripples. Kind of thing.
It absorbs the shock. All right.
Absorbs the shock. However, his invulnerability to physical harm also came with type 1 diabetes.
Oh, fun.
Which means that he is frequently at war with his own body because he's the only one who has the ability to pierce his own skin with an insulin needle.
Oh, lovely.
he'd like to be, and the first half of this book, and I just read the first issue. This could have been a Chad's first time, but I think there's a second issue, but I haven't looked yet.
Sure.
He'd like to be a writer, but he's a little bit blocked, and so he goes to get a job. He gets like gig economy, Uber Eats kind of thing,
right?
And ends up in the middle of a robbery where another superhero discovers that he's got powers. He took an energy blast and didn't die. So she tries to convince him to join up and be helpful. He's like, I just want to live my life. I've got this extra diagnosis that makes it really hard for me to be able to be dependable.
Yeah.
Because what happens if I drop my insulin or my glucose shot, in the midst of fighting somebody. And the issue ends with her providing George with a costume that has special pouches to hold his insulin. It's an interesting book, right?
I like that, yeah.
It's I'll probably pick up the next issue if when Hoopla cycles to the next month. I like the idea of giving a hero a normal, and I'm going to use the word weakness here. It's something that a lot of people have to deal with.
Right.
And so it seems like a really relatable part of life to be like, yeah, it doesn't hurt when I get punched. I can get hit by a truck and I'll be fine. Also, if I don't eat on the regular and I don't keep track of my blood sugar, which, by the way, I have to stab at my arm as though it kicked my dog in order to pierce it to draw blood. I could die.
Oh, man.
So I'm giving it an A for the first issue.
Okay.
And then if I get the next issue, I'll update if that changes.
There aren't very many heroes that have had recurring illnesses. I mean, the original Captain Marvel had cancer. Mia Dearden, who was Arrowette in the comics, had AIDS. But it's few and far between. I believe Stephanie Brown, spoiler, teen pregnancy. It's few and far between stuff. So I like it when someone does that, adds that little wrinkle to a character.
Stephanie Brown, one of the Robins?
Yes, she was a Robin for a cup of coffee. I mean, just real quick. She's mostly known as Spoiler. She's also been Batgirl. She's had a lot of hats.
But her favorite one has been Mom.
She gave the baby up for adoption.
Her favorite one has been
responsible.
Responsible
there
Mom.
You go. She wasn't ready. But yeah, all that.
Hold on, there's a bank robbery going on. I got to go take care of that. You stay in the car. I'll be right back.
Window is down. AC is on. Okay. Anyway. Is that it for you?
All right. I read a lot of books.
I have another review as well. I read the trade collection for Batman, Superman, World's Finest, Secret Origins.
Oh yeah.
So this is. I've lost track of how many times they have retold the first meeting of Batman and Superman. It's getting old. But this is fun in that it's not the first time they met. It's just the first time they worked together on a case. It's because Riddler is leaving riddles behind in Kryptonese. And Batman's like, I don't know how he learned it, and I can't read it, but I know someone who can. And it just kind of goes from there. Turns out that it's also a way to introduce Jaxer to the modern comic audience. If you're not familiar with that name, Superman the Animated Series did an episode where they wanted to use Zod, but didn't want to use Zod. And so...
Well, because then you'd have to kill him.
Yeah. So, true story. So then they ended up doing Jaxer, which is Zod, essentially.
Zod without the pedigree.
Yeah, Jaxer ends up setting a trap that lets him swap his imprisonment in the Phantom Zone with Batman. Because over time, he has found there are tears in the Phantom Zone. And people are going missing in Gotham because one tear is there. And so when Batman gets Superman to investigate, perfect opportunity to find someone to swap places with me. Batman goes into the zone. Superman's got to deal with Jaxer on his own. There's also a backup story in the trade in which Lex Luthor recruits the Joker to track down a magic relic that'll grant the user's heart's desire. Lex's heart's desire is basically just Superman dead. That's it. Unfortunately for him, Joker gets a hold of it first, and Lex has to destroy the stone when he realizes what Joker's heart's desire is. Not good for anybody. Essentially. Lex has to make this moment of sacrifice where he's like, damn it, my heart's desire within my grasp, and that stupid clown had to ruin it. It's good.
Yeah.
It's still good. World's Finest is still good.
World's Finest it's a cool idea.
Also, just quick updates for Spider-Man fans. In all new Venom, Mary Jane broke up with Paul. Okay. Although it also is revealed that Spider-Man's not Spider-Man. Someone is masquerading as Spider-Man. Someone's also masquerading as Peter Parker. Who's that? I don't know. I didn't care enough to keep reading. But I can tell you Ultimate Spider-Man is still really good, in which, I can't spoil too much other than to say the person that everyone thought was Mysterio is in fact Mysterio, and Mary Jane knocked that bitch out. So that was fun. So keep reading Ultimate Spider-Man, especially because it's apparently ending in just a few months. Marvel is ending their Ultimate Universe, and I hate it. And I hope that it's just a publicity stunt and sticks around, because otherwise I'm going to be right back to not reading any more Marvel.
What was the Spider-Man where Doc Ock was Spider-Man? Superior
Spider-Man, which... It was a great idea that just kind of ran too long. I've got the trade, and it ran a bit long. I think all of it's available on Hoopla as well, if you're interested.
Well, that's what I was...
Yeah.
Because I'm like... Hoopla is amazing for these kind of things to be able to say, oh, yeah, I've been wanting to read this. Also, I don't want to spend $25 to read this.
Yeah, if you have a library card, well, if you don't, get a library card at your local library.
They're not expensive.
A lot of libraries also carry comics, graphic novels, and a lot of them have partnerships with things like Hoopla, so you can read a whole bunch of digital titles for free. I think it's worth your time. Before we get to the long box, just a reminder, Extra Life season is right around the corner, and we actually can tell you about a couple of the prizes that we're going to be giving away. We are looking at, let me just pull up my calendar to make sure I tell you right. We are looking at Halloween and November 1st as this year's Extra Life Marathon for Children's Miracle Network Hospitals. Twitch.tv/DeepCave Podcast or DeepCave Podcast 2 or DeepCave Podcast 3. Be sure to be following all those channels because some of us will be playing remotely. But here are some of the prizes we can tell you about. Provided by In Stock Trades, a Box O Comics, $50 value, completely random. You don't know what you're going to get. Also, we will be in the next couple of days. I'll be receiving it here at the cave, an autographed copy of Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees. That is that horror book featuring cuddly teddy bears and stuff. Autographed by the author. That will be a prize as well for Extra Life. Gamefly is going to be providing a 3-month trial as well. More prize details to come, but be sure that you donate any amount and you'll get entered into all of the drawings, and you'll know that 100% of your donation is going straight to Children's Miracle Network hospitals, such as the Stead Family Hospital in Iowa, University of Iowa, and Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital in St. Louis, Missouri. Kent!
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Prepare yourself for Justin's Long Box. Yeah, baby. Extra long.
All right, welcome to Darrin's Long Box. Justin's box is still being evaluated for value, fair market value. So this month... I told Chad before we started taping that I was kind of racking my brain for this month because I wanted to talk about a character that honestly I don't remember hardly anything about. But I'm banking on the fact that you, dear listener, don't remember anything about this character either. And so between the two of us, maybe via time-traveling telepathy, we can come together on a consensus. Why am I thinking of this particular character? I reread Death of Superman recently, and in that book, there's a guy in an all-white bodysuit with a black and red cape. He's part of the Justice League that just gets their butts absolutely handed to them by Doomsday, known as Bloodwynd. And it was the first time I'd ever heard of Bloodwynd. And it has been the first time since that I ever heard of Bloodwynd. I don't ever remember this character coming back up in a major story, so I went and I did a little bit of research, and by that I mean I hit Wikipedia and a few other websites. And so we're going to give you the best possible condensation, like the 100% concentrated Bloodwynd here.
Hey, weird!
So, he was created by comic book legend Dan Jurgens. So, not a bad start. The guy first showed up in Justice League America number 61 back in April of 1992. And apparently, there's... All right, we're going to have to take a sidebar here for a second. In the 90s, people made some choices. Okay? And sometimes those choices were not the most compassionate or the most sensitive towards other races. For example, Bloodwynd is an African American who is apparently a necromancer who descended from slaves, and there's a whole dark ritual involving a bit of voodoo and blood sacrifice, and I know. We're gonna get there, but just let me say, it was a different time back then, okay? Anyway, it's kind of a weird... There's been two versions, really. The first one was... His real name was allegedly Quintus Ars, blood gem thing, yada, yada, yada. He had super strength. He had the ability to, generate stuff with his gem, various magical abilities. He could fly. He could resurrect the dead. He could control the dead, like your good old-fashioned necromancy. And, eventually the guy Quintus got kind of like, the lack of a better term, sucked into the blood gem that he wore on his forehead, and the gem controlled the guy who ended up mind-controlling Martian Manhunter to make him dress up like Bloodwynd and impersonate Bloodwynd, because this was a time where Martian Manhunter was missing from the comics, and they're like, how do we have Martian Manhunter without having Martian Manhunter? Are you following me? Mm-hmm. Good. I'm glad one of us is. Now, his identity was kind of hinted at during the whole Doomsday, death of Superman thing, when Bloodwynd kind of gets knocked into this fiery building, and it's implied that it's not actually Bloodwynd in the fire. Blue Beetle. All he says, I believe, is wait a minute, that looks like, and then Doomsday Hulkamania's through, and that is left as a dangling plot thread for a while, Eventually, the Martian Manhunter is able to free himself of the curse, and they're able to free the guy who's being trapped in the gem, yada, yada, yada. And then Flashpoint happens. Flashpoint, for those who don't remember, you blessed young souls, is when Barry Allen done did the run fast thing, but this time it didn't do the thing that he wanted it to do. But it turns out that Reverse Flash also done did the fast thing just to screw with Barry. Long story short, they wanted a continuity-wide reboot. Flashpoint was how they did it. It led to the New 52. Everybody hated it. Except for Batman fans. Batman fans were okay because Batman stayed the same. Everyone else hated it. Though.
I will say that there were a couple of really good stories that came out of that.
There's always good in that pile of rubble.
But I just want to say, as a concept, the New 52 fell flat.
Right.
But individual stories and issues were really, I really enjoyed what they did with Superman.
Superman Unchained, The Court of Owls.
Court of Owls was
great. Wonder Woman's kind of dark reimagining. It's kind of mostly good,
Teen Titans was good.
Yeah. There were some good things about the New 52. Mm-hmm. They just didn't stick the landing.
They didn't.
But
I think that they ultimately didn't have... They needed to have... So New 52... It was supposed to be 52 new titles, right?
Yes.
They also needed to have a 52-week plan for it.
Right, they did not have that.
And they did not.
Yeah. But getting back to the New 52, after Flashpoint, and then DC Rebirth happened, And then DC issued this book called Power. DC Power is focusing on black superheroes, that kind of thing. And we find Bloodwynd again. Bloodwynd is kind of reintroduced to the audience, and it is revealed that Quintus had kind of got into it with Felix Faust. Bloodwynd ends up condemned to hell for a while. He's saved by his nephew. His nephew takes the gem and becomes the new Bloodwynd. A Bloodwynd from hell, if you will. Boy, that right there is a metal band, by the way. Bloodwynd from hell. Mm-hmm. Heck yes. And that's pretty much it. Bloodwynd has not really been a thing in most of the DC Comics continuity. I mean, he showed up once on Earth 16, and that's about it. Basically, they went from, we want a black Martian Manhunter without using Martian Manhunter, so we'll lean into voodoo for some reason, to, oh yeah, we remembered this guy existed, let's make him more like Ghost Rider. And that's kind of like the two versions of the character. It's not that either is bad. The problem is, as I said at the beginning of this feature, dear listener, both versions are forgettable.
But can we talk about, just real briefly, how the Raphael version of Bloodwynd could have become like the world's greatest telepathic therapist?
Because of the empathy? Yeah.
And the ability to cure emotional pain.
Yes.
Not just like gloss over it, but cure it.
Again, ball dropped. I mean, he's not the only superpowered empath in DC. There's also Raven from the Teen Titans, unless you just looked at the animated version, which doesn't seem to have that ability. Unfortunately for Raven, she just feels everyone's, powers, whereas Bloodwynd could have done some real good stuff with it, but that would require more creativity than DC is willing to give the character at this time. So hopefully we'll see him elsewhere. He's only shown up once in a video game. It was in a Scribblenauts game, and that was the last we'd seen of Bloodwynd.
Which is surprising, because that absolutely could have shown up in Lego Batman 2 or 3.
Yeah, for real.
And everyone would have been like, oh yeah, totally, that's Bloodwynd. Because there were characters that nobody knew in those games that everyone suddenly pretended to know.
Of course. Yeah. So with nothing else, I want to close out by, again, reminding you can donate to our Extra Life effort at geekcavepodcast.com. Click on the Extra Life button at the top. Do you have a random comic panel? Because
I don't.
Okay. Well, while Chad looks one up, and it's I sprung it on him. That's on me. Again, extra-life.org. Go to geekcavepodcast.com. You can click on the Extra Life button and donate there. 100% of your donations go straight to Children's Miracle Network hospitals. Also, I want to remind you, you can find our content on YouTube. Our podcasts are also uploaded to YouTube, as well as Geek Cave Plays. We have a Twitch channel, as I told you about, and so much more. Chad has handed me this image. It is an out-of-context comic panel. You got Supergirl sitting at what looks like a diner. Oh, come on. This could totally work. You get a new power every time you die, right? She says, speaking to someone off camera. So we just keep killing you over and over again until you wind up with the power to cure cancer. Which reminds me of another comic panel where Spider-Man is berating Sauron, who is, a scientist who turns into like a dinosaur type guy. Mm-hmm. And his main plan is to basically create other dinosaur people. And he's like, what are you doing? You could cure so many illnesses. Don't you want to cure cancer? No, I want to create dinosaurs. For Kent, Chad, and Darrin, that's me and Justin. Thanks a lot for listening, and we'll see you tomorrow with Geek Cave Gaming. We'll see you the day after that for Geek Cave Movies, geekcavepodcast.com for all of our other stuff, and remember that everyone is a geek for something.